7:01 a.m. Thank you. And in attendance, we have for Estuary, Angus McDonald, Joan Gay, and Susan Tyler. For Middletown, we have Laura Francis and Ed Bailey. We also have for Estuary, Leslie Strauss. And for staff, we have Joe Comerford and Christina Dennison. Our first item on the agenda is an MOA discussion. We'll defer that and just do a very brief executive session. So if I could have a motion to go into executive session at 11:02. Angus, thank you. A second.
Second.
Second, Ed, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and the purpose of the next discussion topic is the inter-district MOA. Chris was able to send that out this morning. There is not much new or different in that. It has been revised based on our conversation last week. And Joe, if you could just quickly put it up on screen, what I'd like to be able to do at this meeting is have a motion to recommend approval and execution of this MOA by both of the boards, that they would then make motions themselves at their special meetings this week. I think the sooner we can get this signed and referenced in the DOT letter, the faster this whole process will hopefully go. One of the things that I did not include in the attachment is that this MOA, the inter-district MOA, does include 3 appendices, which are essentially unchanged from the original. The first one lists the towns that will be involved. The second one are 2 staffing charts, which the title, the names of those charts have been changed to, one of them says now before the transition, and the other one says, or one says during the transition and the other one says after the merger takes place, but the content of the charts and the positions have not changed. And the third is a series of excerpts from the transit study on the finance and the capital projects that are just being included again as part of the MOA. What is not there is the old Appendix D, which was the implementation plan, because so many of those dates have changed and are subject to sheer guesswork based on the changes that have occurred since we originally did the MOA. So Joe, if you could put up the revised MOA on the screen.
Chris is trying to do that because I still don't have my computer back.
Oh, okay. Can you do that, Chris? Of course, you did say that, so. And Beverly have joined us. Thank you. It's good to see you. Did everyone have a chance to even briefly look at it? It was a snafu with me that I didn't have Chris send it out earlier. I thought I had, but I didn't. I lost track of it.
Okay, it should work now.
Thank you. Could you make it a little larger? Thank you. Okay. You'll see that Dave and I changed just one word in that first paragraph at the end of the sentence, that the agreement would be conditional upon support necessary from DOT as referenced in various sections. I'm just going to run through this, and if you have a question or a comment, please feel free to stop me. Under section 3, transition provisions, we decided to keep the same date of July 1st, 2022.
Excuse me,
because-
Susan?
Yeah,
Can we just take a second on 2? I'm just gonna look at this point, spelling, typos, grammar, if that's okay with you.
no, let's,
Okay,
I want to correct anything that's there, but let's do that later. You and I can do that separately.
okay,
I just want to get the gist of it down so that we can get everybody on board.
gotcha.
Okay, thanks. Under 3, we decided to stay with the July 1st date because the way that language reads, it says, or such other time. And I think if we can stick to as much as what was in the MOA that we negotiated with Solinsky, the better off we'll probably be. Under A, we questioned how to deal with the deadline of October 31st. And we felt that we can still say that we intend that by no later than October 31st, that the member municipalities would vote. Again, that's an intention. If for some reason the 3 towns are not able to accomplish that, I don't think that's a problem, but we're still keeping the element that the ETD Board of Directors would, within 30 days of the last town vote to accept them. Okay. Go ahead, Chris. No change there, no change there. Governance, no change. Under staffing, B, we simply changed those used to be specific dates of July 1st of 21 and 22. And we simply say that the organization charts during transition and after expansion occurs are now Appendix B, but the charts themselves and the positions within the charts are the same. Under C, we simply changed that to reference the fact that those TODs would be approved as of the date the districts accept a letter from CTDOT. That is what is in the DOT letter. The DOT acknowledges that it does have to provide some mechanism for the districts to signal their acceptance of the letter. And they haven't really done that yet. And I'm hoping that they're working on some revisions to those letters that were discussed with Laura, Joe, and me at our meeting with Dennis. Under finances, we changed D regarding Matt's debt to be a little more specific. Before it said when the ETD expansion was established, we said when ETD votes. Soon as ETD votes to accept the former MAP member municipalities as new members of ETD, then the MAP debt would be considered forgiven. We felt that something a little more specific was necessary there. Under 7, there was no change. Under 8, under 8.3, the original MOA referred to the shoreline facility. The letter goes back to referring to it as a satellite facility. Even though section C refers to the Westbrook property, which is on the shoreline, we changed 3 to do both, calling it a new satellite facility at a shoreline location to try to bridge the gap between both documents. C, we added as Westbrook, Connecticut as a satellite facility. I think there's a couple of typos in that paragraph too, Leslie. We'll come back to those with you later. Under 9, one-time studies, the parties anticipate funding for these activities. I can't remember. Oh, it said support before. We wanted to make that more specific to be funding. But as you all might remember, Joe has indicated that we have virtually all of that money in hand at this point, so it's not really an issue. And then there is provision for an oversight body to monitor how everything works. Comments, questions, other than the typo and grammar, which we'll clean up. Is everyone on board with this being signed by both districts? And
Yeah, I
Joe
think
Small, go ahead, Ed.
Oh, yeah, the edits look fine, consistent with what we spoke about, and I think we're good to go.
Yep,
Okay,
there's nothing in here that doesn't align with everything we've been talking about and what we've agreed to with at least, you know, in the letter that's coming from DOT.
okay. Is everyone of that opinion?
Yeah, I just had one thing that I was looking at in section 3E that wasn't typo and grammar.
Okay, sure.
We can go back. 3E, during the transition period prior to Matt's membership, joining ETD, revenues, expenses, and other assets of Matt and ETD. Should we be adding debts into that?
I'm
I
not,
thought-
I'm not sure that's necessary because the debts are specific to the individual districts. But I don't know. Laura, what were you gonna say about that?
What debts are there going to be? Middletown is getting that cleared up.
Well,
Or it
this is-
has gotten that cleared up.
This is prior to this is during the transition where you will still have outstanding debt at Middletown.
Well, we're keeping separate books until such time. And I thought the intention was to get that cleared up.
The
Joe?
debt?
Yes.
Well,
Yes, it
yes, but that's what I was gonna say. What is the transition period? That's before the,
That's before the debt is
well,
forgiven.
it probably goes into both, right? It's probably before and after.
Well, keep in mind, it's possible for either board to accrue a new debt during the transition.
Yes. Well, they're always accruing, especially Middletown, just, for the credit line. And Esther has a credit line as well.
Is there a problem adding that to this section?
I don't see why it would matter if we added it.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. It doesn't really make, doesn't make any significant change to the intent of what we're doing here.
Mhm.
Separate books, we can add the word debts. It's just,
So it would say, during the transition period, revenues, expenses, debts, and other assets of MAT and ETD shall not be commingled.
yeah, I think that would be fine.
Okay,
But do we just mean financial assets or physical assets?
Ah, good
'Cause
question.
Physical assets are impossible not to.
Yeah,
When you're sharing staff, they're sharing computers,
I think that's why we,
and Estuary is getting the money now to buy stuff for that
uh-huh,
already.
Well-
So physical assets have to be shared, but financial assets don't have to be.
I think if we just leave it at other assets, let's remember that both attorneys looked at this and didn't have a problem with it. And unless you want to say other financial assets. Is that what you're suggesting, Joe?
Yeah,
Okay, how do people feel about that?
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay.
Maybe what we say is revenues, expenses, and other financial assets or liabilities.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay,
I think that was our intent all along.
Yeah,
'Cause this
okay.
is the finance section, right?
okay. Okay, those are both good.
Assets and liabilities. That sounds much better.
Okay. All righty. We will make that change. And good catches. Thank you, Wesley and Joe. Any other comments on the inter-district MOA?
Well, hello again.
Okay.
Just to make sure that for the record, down in section 8, where you refer to the new shoreline facility as a satellite, I really hate using the word satellite. I know it's in the study, but I just hate calling it a satellite. That's just me personally.
Do we want to say as defined in the study? Because the study clearly defines it as beyond a satellite. The
Defines
study
it
clearly
beyond
says
a
that it will have
satellite?
maintenance, it will have storage, it will have, the study says all those things.
Well, can we just say construction of a new facility and take out satellite? That's,
Does the
Just
study
not-
use the word satellite, Joe?
It does.
We should be consistent.
Well, and so is a letter. That's why Susan and Dave changed that to be consistent with the letter. But the study also defines what will be in this satellite, and it says it's maintenance, it's storage, it's fueling, it's wash, and all the things that.
Any other comments on that? Let's see. Angus or Joan?
No, not for me. I think it suits everything we've been talking about, and I don't disagree with Leslie that when you were reviewing this beginning, satellite kind of stuck out, but your explanation satisfied me. And I think we should be consistent certainly with the letter and with the study as well.
I agree.
Joan?
I agree.
Okay. Alrighty, I think Leslie, the general sentiment is to leave in the word satellite.
okay, so I'll let it go. Thank you all.
You gave it one last college try.
I got.
It's always
Thank
worth it. Okay. Anything else on this inter-district MOA? Joe Samalas, are you comfortable with signing this for each district? Maybe did I lose him? Laura, do you know if Joe's good with this concept?
We have not discussed it, but I'm sure he's fine
Okay, you'll be discussing it obviously at your meeting on
at
Friday.
our meeting. Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, alrighty. Leslie, I'll be on with you after the call to clean it up. But
Yeah.
could I have a motion to recommend, and Chris, I'll get you this language too, to recommend to the boards of ETD and MAT that they approve and execute a memorandum of agreement regarding the parties' commitment to achieve the equivalent of a merger of MAT and ETD.
So moved.
Thank you, Ed. Second,
Second.
Angus. Thank you. Further discussion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? All righty, we're good to go. We will, of course, make the changes that we discussed today and get the final versions to everyone within
Joe's
a couple of
Joe's
hours.
back, if you wanted to ask him again.
Sorry about
Oh.
that, guys.
That's okay. Joe, I was just asking whether you're comfortable as chairperson of MAT with signing this interdistrict MOA.
I am. Yep.
Okay.
As I've stated before, you guys have been carrying the weight and moving this ball forward based off of the recommendations of that report. So I'm on board with it.
Great, thank you. I think it's important to be able to have that for our shareholders and other constituents, that because it does create a structure and a framework for this, even though it's just between the two parties instead of the three. Okay. Under
I do
old
have a
business-
question. I do have a
Of
question.
course.
So
Sure.
DOT won't see this, or will they see this or be attachment to the letter or no? I
Well,
missed that
that's-
part.
That's an interesting question, Beverly. The letter references this MOA being signed by the districts. And so what we will do is give them the date on which this MOA was signed.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
My intention, Laura, I don't know where you are on this, is not to offer it up to them. But if they ask to see it, I don't have any problem, because it's pretty much tracks what we negotiated with Dennis in April.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
fine.
And they know that we are working on doing it, and they agreed with. Well, to put in the letter, and they didn't discuss anything with us, but then I've told them that we are adopting it between ourselves, and they liked that idea.
So if they ask to see it, I don't have a problem sending it, but I wouldn't offer it up and divert their attention from other matters at this point. But that was a good question, Beverly. There is a section in the letter that has a date for when this thing was signed. So hopefully after each board meets at the end of this week, it can be signed early next week. And then we can move that part of the letter along. Okay, under old business, any status on the marketing brochure that you want to share, Joe or Leslie?
Unfortunately not. I've contacted our marketing person several times. So
Okay. Oh,
keep trying her.
I skipped over an item. I apologize. Discussion of shared staffing agreement. We have no new information on that, but we will on Monday. Hopefully an agreement we can look at for execution between the two districts. We're waiting on some work from Jonathan on that. Okay, back to old business. I'm sorry to jump around. The PowerPoint presentation that the Middletown members have asked for. I think it's a good idea if we establish a due date for that. When do you need that by? So Joe and Dave can work toward that goal.
Well, we're gonna be going to town meeting for sure, second week in October. We will have at least one special town meeting prior to that, possibly end of August, early September. I don't know about Ed's schedule.
how
You know,
far-
I can have a schedule a town meeting in September. That's not a problem.
And how much in advance of the meeting does the Board of Selectmen meet to vote on it? Like, will we back it up to when we need to start presenting to your?
So if we're gonna have a meeting in
Or second.
September, we'd have to have a presentation either in the late August or early September in order to get it done by the end of September.
Right.
What about a date of August 15th for the presentation to be done?
That'd be good.
Does that work
That
for
would
you?
be
Ed?
good for me.
Okay,
Yeah.
Ed?
Yeah,
For Middletown, I think if we could do it in the beginning of August, I know our council likes to think about things before their vote, and they would probably like to have this on the agenda, maybe September. So I don't know if it might be a little bit, if it's too much of an inconvenience to try to have it a little bit earlier in August, if possible, after the first week in August, maybe.
How does that sound, Joe? Can you do that?
When's Dave back?
Dave is gone for 2 weeks.
Yeah, so he's
This
not,
week,
so he'll be
this
back the
week-
first week of August,
yes.
the first
Yeah.
full week.
What do you say, August 5th, August 7th?
What's the-
Even the
calendar?
following week would be okay. I mean, it should be all right. I
Let's
just
say-
like to give the council as much time as possible to ask questions and to review the information so that they can vote on it
Sure.
at the
So,
following meeting.
okay, so he'll be back, yeah, so the 6th, he'll be back on like the 31st or so, so we can work on it the week of the 2nd.
How about August 6th?
So we'll aim for August 6th.
Okay. Alrighty, that's good. That just, without a date, sometimes these things can kind
So
of.
August 15th is a Sunday, so,
We're gonna do August 6th.
okay, well, okay. So we're gonna
Go
have
for Middletown.
one presentation for all the towns at once?
No, well, just to make a presentation, the visual part of it. And
I
then we'll
think
give
that
it to each town.
There will be one PowerPoint project that all towns will use. How they present it and when they present it is up to each individual town.
Okay, so we're talking about the deadline to have the PowerPoint prepared. Okay, understood.
Correct.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, got it. Yeah, that's
No
great.
problem. Okay, is the 6th a Sunday or anything?
It's a Friday.
It's a Friday. Okay, that sounds good. That way we can also, as this committee, get a look at it that following Monday too. To add any comments we may have. Okay, we are still working on board policies. They need a little bit more work. But one of the things Estuary will probably do at its special meeting on Friday is ask anyone who would like to take a look at the proposed bylaws and board policies that we would be willing to send out drafts of those. Since all of the Middletown board has really been a participant in those, you all are familiar with them, but as we say, several of our board members are not. So we will make that offer to them if they're interested in it. Any other old business? Okay, any new business? Oh, that's reassuring. Okay, under next steps, we will be conducting our special board meetings. Number 1, number 2, we will execute the inter-district MOA between Estuary and Middletown. And we will provide in writing feedback to DOT and set up a meeting to finalize the letter. What we will plan to do is have a write-up of what Laura, Joe, and I plan to go back to Dennis Zielinski with on the letter. Joe, we still haven't received that little clause that they are talking about adding to the letter.
Nope, we haven't received anything new.
Can you find out what's holding that up?
Yeah, I meet with Dennis today, so I'll ask him for all the final language.
Okay, and whatever other language changes he might have made, I did ask him to send us those if he has them.
I'm
but-
gonna ask him for all the final language. And if they've come up with a way that they want us to formally accept this.
Yeah, okay.
Because we kind of need to know that too.
Sure. Okay, very good. Any other discussion? Comments, suggestions? No, okay. Leslie, maybe you could stay on with me afterwards and we can go over your changes.
Right, but can you invite anybody who all would like to stay on to do that so that
Sure.
if I have something that nobody else wants, we have it, it's done?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Next meeting is next Monday, July 26th. A similar in-person, apparently in Zoom option meeting at 11. We should be in a position at that point to hopefully have the interdistrict MOA signed. So maybe Leslie, you and Joe Samala could figure out when you would be in a position to make those signatures and get that done.
Sure,
Uh,
yeah.
Otherwise, may I have a motion to adjourn at
11:44.
11:44. A motion to adjourn by Joan. Thank you. Second, Laura. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, everybody.